Imagine one woman's mouth could destroy an entire village. Yes, just her words. If you love crazy African stories, subscribe now because you don't want to miss this. Kijani Junction was a village where mornings were quiet until Mama Talkative woke up. She didn't just wake up, she announced her arrival. Birds stopped singing, children paused mid-scream, even the wind seemed to wait. Mama Talkative had a special power. Her words traveled faster than any messenger. She could turn a simple greeting into a scandal, a misplaced chicken into a conspiracy, and a friendly laugh into a village-wide investigation. This morning, she stepped out of her house, yawned dramatically, stretched her arms, and scanned the village like a hawk inspecting prey. She murmured, tilting her head, a sound that was louder than any announcement. For the villagers, it was a warning. The man sweeping his yard froze mid-sweep. The women at the water point straightened their backs. Even the children stopped arguing over nothing. Mama Talkative walked slowly through the village square, noticing every small detail. A boy tripped over a stone. Aha! Why did you trip? She thought. A goat wandered too close to a fence. Interesting, she whispered to herself. By the time the sun was fully up, Mama Talkative had already collected enough material to entertain or terrify the whole village for the day. And just like that, the peaceful Kijani Junction began its daily descent into chaos.
Mama Talkative's first stop every day was the water point. Not because she needed water, but because people gathered there. Where people gather, stories grow legs. She arrived smiling, greeting everyone like a politician before elections. "Good morning, my people." The greeting landed heavily. Women responded slowly, carefully choosing their words. Mama Talkative leaned closer to one woman and lowered her voice. "I saw something yesterday." That sentence alone caused tension. She paused. She scratched her head. She sighed. Then she smiled again. Never mind. Never mind. Those two words did more damage than a full explanation ever could. The women looked at each other. Eyebrows rose. Eyes widened. What did she see? Who did she see? Why didn't she finish? Mama Talkative walked away slowly, enjoying the silence she had just broken. By midday, the village had already decided that someone was hiding something serious. By afternoon, everyone agreed Mama Talkative knew the truth. By evening, people were arguing about a story that had never been told. Mama Talkative sat at home, sipping tea, completely relaxed. "People talk too much," she said, shaking her head.
The first real damage came from something very small. A chicken. A brown chicken wandered into a neighbor's compound and began pecking at the ground peacefully. Mama Talkative stopped. She stared at the chicken. "That chicken doesn't belong here," she said. She didn't accuse anyone. She didn't explain anything. She simply nodded to herself and walked away. An hour later, she repeated the sentence to someone else. 2 hours later, the sentence had changed slightly. That chicken was taken. By evening, the story sounded completely different. That family has been stealing chickens. The chicken, unaware that it had become evidence, returned home safely. But the damage stayed. Neighbors stopped greeting each other. Doors closed earlier than usual. Whispers followed footsteps. When asked about the story, Mama Talkative laughed. "I didn't say they stole," she said. "I just said the chicken was there." In Kijani Junction, that was enough. Soon, gossip graduated from animals to humans. Mama Talkative noticed 2 young people laughing together near the road. Just laughing, nothing more.
She slowed her walk. She tilted her head. That sound again. By the time the sun set, the laughter had turned into a rumor. By night, it became a secret relationship. By morning, it was a scandal. The young man was questioned. The young woman avoided eye contact. People whispered when they passed. Mama Talkative acted surprised. "Ah, so people are talking," she said innocently. "This village, so dramatic." But inside, she felt powerful. Words were her currency. Attention was her reward. And she was getting rich. By now, gossip was no longer accidental. It was routine. People waited for Mama Talkative's daily movements the way others waited for news updates. Where she stopped, stories began. Where she paused, assumptions formed. Facts became optional. Drama became essential. Mama Talkative enjoyed it. She felt important, needed, relevant. But she didn't notice one thing. The village was changing. Smiles became forced. Trust became rare. Silence became fear. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise, truth quietly stepped aside. Mama Talkative continued walking, talking, wondering why people had started avoiding her. She had no idea that soon the same mouth that entertained the village would turn against her. And when that happened, there would be no rumor big enough to protect her. By now, Mama Talkative had turned the village into her personal news channel. Every corner had a listener, every listener had an opinion, and every opinion was already dramatic. She spotted the village baker carrying yams. She paused. She said. The baker froze mid-step. "Why are yams moving like that?" she whispered to herself. By the time she passed, half the village believed the yams were stolen, the other half believed the baker was plotting a secret business deal, and the children believed the yams could fly. Mama Talkative strolled past the marketplace like a queen inspecting her kingdom. A woman dropped a basket of tomatoes. "That's suspicious," Mama murmured. Soon it became, "Someone pushed her. She's conspiring with the trader. They are planning something big." Meanwhile, Mama sipped her tea, looking completely innocent, smiling at her own chaos. People love drama, she thought, and I am the chef. Later, Mama's attention turned to two young boys arguing over a goat. It wasn't a fight, just two kids playing. But Mama Talkative raised an eyebrow. A single eyebrow raised, and suddenly, the goat was being stolen. The boys were joining a secret gang. Their parents were in trouble. She narrated the scene to the women at the well. With each retelling, details got bigger. By the third telling, the goat was leading a rebellion. The village elder was secretly helping it. Even the chicken from yesterday joined in. Mama chuckled quietly. "Gossip is better than TV," she said. By sunset, the whole village had gathered in whispers, debating who was guilty of absolutely nothing. Mama Talkative was now entertainment central. Children ran after her to hear the latest story. Even the elders paused from their tea to listen. She noticed a man painting his hut. She muttered. By noon, his hut was under investigation for hiding treasure. By evening, people were bringing lamps and shovels, ready to dig. A young woman who tripped while fetching water was now a spy. A goat who ran across the field became the enemy general. Mama Talkative nodded, smiling at her handiwork. "Chaos looks so good on them," she whispered. One day, a small argument broke out between neighbors over a misfired basket of corn. Mama was passing by. She tilted her head, squinted, and whispered a single word. Boom. Suddenly, it was no longer about corn. It was about hidden treasure, secret messages, and a plan to overthrow the village elder. The village split into two groups. Team Believe Mama and Team She Exaggerates, but we fear her. Even the children picked sides. They began whispering, "Mama said so," in every corner. By sunset, Kijani Junction looked like a battlefield, and all of it started with a simple, Mama Talkative walked home exhausted. She had walked, whispered, paused, smiled, and caused more confusion than a storm. She noticed her reflection in a puddle. I look powerful, she thought. Little did she know, the village had started to watch her back. The same people who had laughed at the goat yesterday were now thinking, what will she say tomorrow? Even the children, who usually ran to her stories, were now hiding behind fences to avoid becoming the next rumor. Mama Talkative yawned, stretched, and whispered to herself, "Tomorrow will be even more interesting." And that's how the modern African village lived, between laughter, chaos, and one woman's unstoppable mouth. The village had officially become a theater of gossip. Mama Talkative walked through the market, sipping her tea slowly, as if she were the director of a play. Every person she passed became an actor in her story, whether they liked it or not. A young man carrying yams stumbled slightly. Mama raised an eyebrow. By the time she reached the well, the village story had escalated. The yams were smuggled. The young man was a secret messenger. Someone was plotting to swap the village chief's hat. Even the children whispered, "Did you hear? Mama Talkative saw it all." She paused at the marketplace stall, noticed a woman arranging colorful cloths, and tilted her head. Interesting patterns," she murmured. By noon, the villagers believed the woman was sending secret codes through her fabrics. By evening, someone tried to decode them using a stick and chalk. Mama Talkative chuckled softly. "Oh, the fun of imagination," she whispered, walking away. Later that day, a minor argument broke out between two neighbors about a spilled basket of corn. Mama strolled by, leaned forward slightly, and said, curious. That single word transformed the argument into a village-wide investigation. The elders began discussing motives. The youth speculated about secret alliances. Even the goats seemed suspicious as they walked past. By sunset, Mama Talkative had unknowingly created 3 official rumor factions. Team Innocent, everyone else, Team Accused, the 2 neighbors, and Team Mama, everyone who took her seriously. Mama watched the chaos unfold with a triumphant smile. She sipped her tea again, muttering, "Order and peace are boring anyway." The next morning, Mama Talkative noticed 2 children chasing a goat near the village square. They look too happy, she thought. They must be hiding something. By lunch, the village believed the children were secretly planning to steal the goats. By afternoon, someone suspected the village elder was secretly training the goats for an army. By evening, even the chicken from yesterday was considered a recon spy. Mama Talkative strolled past the square, hands on her waist, satisfied. She hummed a little tune, pleased with her impact. She had no idea that some villagers were starting to watch her movements in return. One afternoon, a stranger arrived in Kijani Junction. He looked confused, holding a basket of mangoes. Mama Talkative instantly sized him up. New person, new story," she muttered. By evening, the mangoes had become evidence of a secret trade deal with another village. The stranger, who had only come to visit his aunt, now had 3 official enemies and 2 unexpected allies. Mama Talkative smiled quietly. New blood makes stories tastier, she thought. Even the children whispered, "Beware, she sees everything." Meanwhile, a goat, a chicken, and a basket of mangoes became the new center of village politics, thanks to her.
By nightfall, Kijani Junction had officially descended into gossip madness. The village square, usually empty after sunset, now held groups of whispering villagers, debating events that barely happened. Neighbors peeked from windows, hoping to catch Mama Talkative walking by. Children crouched behind fences, trying to figure out the truth. Mama Talkative finally returned home. She stretched, yawned, and looked at her reflection in a puddle. I am powerful, she thought proudly. Meanwhile, the village had started adjusting to her presence. People began thinking, where will Mama Talkative go next? What story will she create tomorrow? She smiled, completely unaware that the same chaos she loved creating might one day turn against her. The night settled over Kijani Junction, but the stories were far from over. The next morning, Kijani Junction had a serious problem. People were actually watching Mama Talkative. Even the elders, who usually napped in the sun, peeked from behind fences. Children hid in trees, whispering about her latest discoveries. Goats seemed to move faster, as if they knew they were being watched. Mama Talkative, oblivious, strutted through the market. She noticed a man carrying yams, tilted her head, and muttered, suspicious. By lunchtime, the story had escalated. The man was smuggling yams. He was secretly working with the village baker. The baker was hiding a goat inside his flour sacks. By sunset, villagers were running around checking flour sacks, yams, and goats. Mama sipped her tea at home, delighted. Chaos, she realized, was her masterpiece. One afternoon, a small argument erupted between two neighbors over spilled water. Mama approached slowly, tilting her head dramatically. Interesting, she murmured. By evening, the spilled water had become evidence of a secret alliance between the neighbors, a plan to steal from the village elder, a mysterious prophecy involving goats, chickens, and the mangoes from last week. Even the children were creating charts, trying to track alliances and betrayals. Mama Talkative sat on her porch, smiling proudly. "This village will never be bored again," she whispered. The villagers began giving each other side glances, trying to figure out who was with her and who was against her stories. That night, Mama Talkative walked past the village square, noticing the same young couple she had targeted weeks ago. They look too quiet tonight, she thought. By morning, her imagination had grown so much that the villagers believed the couple was secretly communicating in code. They were planning a dramatic elopement. The village elder had been bribed to hide their secret. Even the goats seemed to be listening. Even the chickens stopped clucking. By afternoon, Mama realized she had created an entire soap opera in Kijani Junction, and she hadn't even planned it. But that was the beauty of gossip. It ran on its own. Then came the moment of slight chaos turnback. The villagers, who had tolerated her stories for weeks, began talking about her behind her back. A group of elders whispered, "She's too powerful. One day her mouth will create real trouble." Mama Talkative noticed some suspicious looks in the morning market. Are they plotting against me? She thought. Her pride was challenged. The young children, who usually ran to hear her stories, began hiding behind fences to avoid becoming the next rumor. Even the goats and chickens seemed more cautious. Mama sipped her tea thoughtfully, realizing maybe the chaos she loved might one day find her. Finally, the day came when Mama Talkative walked into her own rumor. A small misunderstanding about a spilled mango basket became the talk of the village. Suddenly, she was the subject of her own stories. The villagers laughed, whispered, and pointed. Even the children giggled behind fences. Mama stopped, looked around, and realized
She had built an empire of gossip. She had entertained and terrified the village, but now the stories were out of her control. She laughed too. Maybe I finally understand what I started, she said. From that day on, Mama Talkative still talked, still observed, still caused small chaos. But now she also learned to listen, because even the loudest mouth in Kijani Junction could become the punchline. And the village, they finally accepted it. Life in Kijani Junction was always a little louder, a little funnier, and a lot more interesting, thanks to one unstoppable woman. The goats returned to normal, the chickens resumed their business, and the mangoes, well, they were never safe again.